What's up? What is going on? Long time, no time. Okay, what's up, you guys? My name is DanieSteel. If you don't know me, hello, welcome. I want to talk about this Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard situation. Okay, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, I don't, anyone that knows me knows I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of movies nowadays because I disappeared into fantasy land, right, when I was growing up. So a lot of people, a lot of millennials will tell you, I was raised by the TV. I was raised by the TV, all right? And sometimes Chucky was on the screen. Okay? Sometimes Freddy Krueger was on the screen. I mean, they would play anything in the hood, would they not? They will play any movie, any show. It don't matter. They don't change it for children. Okay? So I grew up rough, right? And Edward Scissorhands was a favorite in my household, right? So, you know, let's be clear. I'm going to give you my unbiased opinion. I'm going to give you my biased opinion, right, on this topic. Let's start there. And that might have some ladies upset with me because I've seen a lot of women being like, welcome everyone that's here. Thank you for being here. RLA, good to see you. Hey, what's going on? Okay, so, I've seen a lot of women, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of Black women, right? Being like, she's innocent, right? And like, he beat her and he did all this and being really passionate about that, right? And you guys know how I am. You guys know how I am about that stuff. So the question becomes, which is, women are to be protected. Okay. So the question becomes, right, because this is a defamation trial, not were they abusive to one another, but has she defamed him? Remember this as you're watching the trial, right? Because a lot of people think that he's going to be guilty for being abusive to her or whatever. And that's not what it's about, right? It's about her defaming him. He's suing her for that. Okay. All right. So there's so much going on here, right? It's like, I love Edward Scissorhands. Everyone's like, everyone loves Johnny Depp. But when this started going on, right, it was the height of the Me Too movement. And a lot of celebs were going down. And he was just one of them, that was being exposed for being abusive to his wife, right? So, I remember one of the last things I thought about Johnny Depp, right? Because, it's like when people say that, what he feared happened, which is people's opinions of him changed, right? I remember, just being like, oh, it's sad how it turned out for him. A lot of them went down. A lot of them got exposed, right? And, I think it's so sad. Hello, Savannah. I think it's so sad. Like when I saw this trial happen, which by the way, they've had this trial before in the UK, I believe. Okay. So he's very determined to make it clear that this woman has defamed him. And, I admire that and I respect that because when you're guilty, you don't fight it, right? And I'm not talking about just words. I mean, he went through the legal system to prove this. You think about Johnny Depp. You think about how he had. I mean, now I'm being a movie buff, right? Be like, she like white men. Calm down, calm down. You're gonna be okay. Okay. Johnny Depp isn't the type of look I'm into. But just we always loved him, right? And as I recall, I'm not the type of look he's into. Okay, I've seen his past choices. Okay, so we're good. Johnny Depp is such a private person. One of the reasons that we love him as a movie star is because, it's like everyone has always said, you don't know Johnny Depp. That's why this is one of the reasons why, for me, this case is so fascinating. Had to cam up and show up. My mic is on. Had to cam up for it. Okay, because I was like, we got to talk. There's a lot going on here. Everyone said Johnny Depp is such a private person, and that's why when he plays a character, you believe him. All right. And I try to give y'all little acting tips, little acting notes here or there, right? And be like, one of the things, like when you're an actor, it's do I believe you or not? Right? And Johnny Depp has played extraordinary characters and we believe him. That's an extraordinary feat. So how does he, achieve this? Being an amazing actor, right? Who lives in the moment and is bold and isn't afraid to make choices. All right. Anyone that's taken an acting class, you've heard all those words before. So when it came out that Johnny, all right, now we talk about Johnny like we know Johnny. When Johnny was like, I'm taking her to court, it was like, whoa, you're willing to put all your business out there too, because this is your business too, to prove that this woman is lying on you. That's extraordinary. Again, I've seen a lot of Black women being like, she didn't do nothing wrong and she was abused and all this other stuff. My question to y'all are you watching the trial? Are you watching the trial? See, that's why, these dudes, they be in the chat, they be lurking in the bushes because they know that I'm very, it's not about just being fair, right? The case is saying there's mutual abuse going on here. It's not just about being fair. It's about justice. It's about what's right. These people had a toxic relationship. Okay, but we cannot deny. That's one thing I'm not going to do. Now, I'm not going to get up here and lead a movement about it. See, that's what. See, when you validate, oftentimes for men with podcasts and men with YouTube accounts, men with social media accounts, right? When you validate something that is true for them, then they're like, now fight for me. Hold on now. Hold on now. We don't do that over here. All right. We let men fight for themselves. Okay. We cannot deny that men have been abused in relationships. We can't deny that. Now, am I going to get on here and pick Misha's spirit up? No, because statistically, that's not the majority of the cases. It's not, it's not even a lot of the cases. There are some cases where men are abused, and that needs to be taken seriously. Men have lost their lives for this. I know you guys remember, I was just telling my husband this the other day, and when I told him this when he took it serious, I was like, y'all remember, what's his name, Phil Hartman? I believe he was on SNL, and he, did that voice on The Simpsons. Like it was that guy. I mean, they all sound like that. But Phil Hartman, The Simpsons, his life was taken by his wife. And I always remember that story because it was one of the first times that I recall. I mean, don't try to be like Lorena Bobbitt. He had it coming. Okay, but when we're talking about Phil Hartman, what happened with Phil Hartman? Oh my God, it was heartbreaking. Sorry. It's not how I get. I'm so serious. I mean, his story, if you look it up, it's tragic. While the children were in the home. So, this happens. And now we're in a society. I wish my dog wasn't sitting here farting in my face. Now we live in a society where, y'all would think this is England or something. Y'all would think this is UK. It's like, it's about propriety, right? And men, understand that they can't be a certain way in public. Real men, right? I swear to God, I'm sorry, this dog, get out of here, Cersei. Oh my God. I cannot believe this. I was just stinking up the place. Get out of here, Cersei. Okay, so anyways, sorry. I'm the one that's suffering. Okay. Notice how white women are more silent. She's on her own. I haven't seen white women standing up for Amber Heard the way I've seen Black women standing up for Amber Heard. I'm like, do you think Amber Heard would stand up for you? And don't tell me it's because, you feel she's been abused. Because to that, I will say, are you watching the trial? they have a lot of people around them, celebrities, a lot of people around them catering to them, right? This is a very beautiful woman, a very soft, delicate woman. When OJ was abusing Nicole Brown, people didn't lie for him because he was a celebrity and she wasn't. They didn't. They were like, he's knocking the out of her. You know how they do. They'll throw the whole TV screen down on you, throwing you through walls like the Kool-Aid man. These guys are out of control, right? And people weren't being like, no, that's not true, because it was so obvious. You know, you can't hide the bruises and that she had, right? So people who knew both of them, even though OJ was the celeb, they would say in court, yeah, we saw the bruises, we saw. So there's a bunch of people around Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Nobody has seen her being abused, being hit, having bruises or scars. I mean, this is the majority of the people who are around them. Now, she might get her family and or some friends or some witnesses of her own to come in and say something different. But we're talking about a group of people that are around them who have nothing to lose to tell the truth. Johnny Depp ain't even got it like that no more in terms of money, you know. He's been struggling. You know. I mean, that was made clear a while ago. You know, he's got all types of islands to himself and things like that. So, okay. All right. So why are y'all defending? Like, why? You know, I see people yelling and screaming about it on social media. I'm like, she doesn't know you exist. She'll never know that you exist. And you're fighting and yelling and screaming about how could y'all believe this abuser over Amber Heard? You know, I mean, we take people's reputation into account. We take witness accounts. We're taking in evidence. I'm just going by the evidence. If the evidence suggested something different, I would go by that. Amber Heard didn't lose. Johnny Depp lost his little finger. You know, it was a pointer finger, I believe. Maybe the middle finger. Johnny Depp lost the tip of his finger. And what we cannot do is not use common sense to advocate. That's why the world is so weird and kind of shady right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially like as it relates to American society, right? It's like I've had people that I knew for years that because I didn't say what they wanted me to say, text message, because I don't think the way that they want me to think and do the things that they want me to do. I thought I was grown, right? They're like, I don't talk to people who have a different opinion than me. I'm like, well, you're weird. You're very weird. And you're going to live in a weird bubble. So, you know, the case isn't about if he abused her. The case is about if she's defamed him. And it's looking like she has, right? So, Princess Leah, good to see you. She says, I immediately knew Amber was borderline, inflicts abuse, then plays the victim. Exactly. I mean, you know, there's so much. When I look at this trial, okay, I see mental illness. I see personality disorders. I see narcissism. There are no empaths in the room. Let's be clear. Though I think that Johnny has more of an empathetic touch about him. Right? This is a battle of two narcissistic personalities. But she's got borderline going on. She's got all of those traits in psychology where getting into a relationship with a person like this, it doesn't mean they're not worthwhile people. We all have, you know, not everybody can be an empath. Not everybody can be an empath. I know y'all all on here talking like, I'm an empath. Calm down. But, you know, she's got the histrionic, This is all allegedly. And I think that Johnny is eclectic and used to getting his way. And I think that he can probably be nasty in getting there, like we all can. But when it comes to abuse and then playing the victim, I want you to understand this. He said, hey, they keep asking him, they're like, is that you? Did you send these texts saying you was going to do this, and that to her? He's like, yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, he said some crazy things. But you can't find people saying that they've observed him hitting her. So why are y'all going so hard for her? I think it's an indoctrinated response that Black women have to be going so hard for her like that. And it's not all Black women, but it's a group of them that I've seen. And hey, if you can disprove this to me after I've sat and watched hours of this trial, that's why I'm here to talk about it. Please do. But I'm not just going to take her word for it over evidence. See, now she could have came out and said it and people did take her word for it. So that's when Johnny said, okay, you know what? I made a decision last night that I'll die for it. That's when Johnny said, I made a decision last night that I'll die for it, just to show the city what it takes to be alive for it. Okay? And he said, you know what? I'll take it to court. And we can burn together because I'm losing jobs, done lost pirates, done lost the beast, the wildebeest, whatever, crazy beast, fantastic beast, silly beast, done lost the, money was already tight. Got children, got an ex-wife. But I'm willing to go through this expensive trial because what you're not going to do is have me out here looking like someone I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And, I remember when everything I say is allegedly. I remember when FKA Twigs came out about Shia LaBeouf. And she said, the reason I'm telling everyone, FKA Twigs said, the reason I'm telling everyone publicly that Shia LaBeouf has given me, FKA Twigs, a transmitted disease is because I asked him to get help. He was being crazy, driving a car all crazy in the Hollywood Hills. Oh no, boo-boo. Find some other way to show your manhood. He was acting crazy, waking me up in the middle of the night. What is this, Precious? You ain't go. I would have transformed I would have. If you don't get out of my face, waking her up, making her sleep naked with him, all sorts of allegations FKA Twigs said about Shia LaBeouf, okay? She said, I asked him to get help. He didn't do it, so I'm suing him. Because what I don't want, right? Of course, she didn't say it like this, but I'm her Black interpreter, right? What I don't want is for another woman to get into a relationship with him. He does the same thing to her and or worse because he's out of control and he never has to. See, this is what y'all don't understand about narcissists. I'm studying psychology. I've studied it for many years. Okay? Part of being a narcissist is that you never have to take accountability for the things that you do. A lot of people don't understand that. So like, when I got into it with, estranged family members and stuff, they had the nerve to say I was a narcissist. No, because I can't cough. My mask can't slip. There's almost nothing that I can do in society where somebody won't jump out of a bush and try to hold me accountable for things I'm not even doing. So I don't live a life of a narcissist, okay? Because if I do something, I have to be accountable for it. That's the world that I live in. When you're a narcissist, like the people who accuse me of that, you never have to be accountable for the many, many, many bad things that you do. right? And so wouldn't that make sense when you're dealing with celebrities? They do a lot of things and they're used to getting away with it, right? So again, we're dealing with narcissistic personalities. But when you're clipping people's fingers off and throwing bottles, now she got all these crazy stories like, oh, he did this to me. And why he didn't do it to his last wife? Why he didn't do it to Winona Forever? And all the other women that he's dated. You're the first person to come out with these accusations. And then, it's coming to find out that, there's poo in the bed. So one of you is lying. I'm about to be Judge Judy on this. I'm speaking. One of you is lying. Like Judge Judy says, if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. All right? What the hell was going on in there? Y'all dropping turds, throwing bottles. I mean, it was crazy. And Johnny said multiple times, you would see, Johnny said, we got to let this thing go. Right? It's too dysfunctional. And I got kids, right? He's got 2 kids. He's like, I can't keep doing this. Maybe you can play like this for life, but I can't keep doing this. Right? So it was so much going on. I'm sorry, but I'm inclined to believe the evidence. Okay? I'm inclined to believe the evidence. And that's why I will continue to watch the trial. Okay, we're going to get into some clips because there's a mindset that femininity looks one way, that femininity presents one way. And Amber Heard, though she is a lesbian woman, I guess bisexual, right? Amber Heard presents like femininity presented. Okay, she definitely has a different look now. But when she first came out, right, it was bombshell. It was bombshell. And so there's a narrative, right, that women that look like Amber Heard can only be victims. And they're thriving off of that. And, I think it's really sick the way that men will come online and say all women get to play victim and all women want to play damsel in distress, because y'all know good and damn well that's not true. That's not something that's reserved for all women. That's something that's given to the women that y'all chose to give it to. Now you've enabled the hell out of them. You got a bunch of Karens running around. Who did that? I didn't do it. I didn't enable them. I called them out on their BS. Who did that? Now they're Karens and they're damsels in distress and they can't be touched. All these men that love that image set that up. Let me start playing this clip. She also became a secondary psychopath whenever Johnny threatened to leave. Yep. I saw that. Absolutely. Hi, Black Widow Rowe. Good to see you. The body language has everything in the courtroom. They played the tape and Johnny put his head down and Amber was solid face. Right. So Amber's got this face going on in court and we got to dress that face. I don't even know if I can do it. Let's see. It's like, right. I've been around women that look like Amber Heard. And I will say that this goes based on looks and not my looks. Not my looks. I can promise you that. I've been around women that look like Amber Heard, right? One of the things that women like this will constantly say to anyone, they'll say it to a toddler that they get into a fight with, right? They're like, I'm a little girl. They'll be like, a little white girl like me. Or they'll be like, I'm like a 100-pound girl. Right? And it don't matter how old they are. They can be 40. They call themselves a girl. And they remind you of what they look like. Right? And something I've noticed that she's done throughout this trial is, like her attorneys will be like, you are bigger than her, right? And he was like, I mean, That's up for debate. She's a strong girl. Yeah, she's thin, but she's not short. They're the same height. I'm sure she does more yoga than he does. You see where I'm going with this? Right? So she has this face that, and this is what happens a lot at PWIs, right? I have been literally bullied, outright harassed in PWIs, right? And nobody cared. Nobody believed me. It wasn't no social media. All right. There wasn't no social media where I could go on and take pictures of them and call them out. Schools didn't care. Nobody cared because I'm a Black woman. So when it comes to being believed, I'm about at the end of society. And it doesn't matter what's true. And that's what Amber Heard, that's the spirit that she brought into this situation. It doesn't matter what's true. What matters is what people think. And when people see a woman that looks like Amber Heard, they see a damsel in distress. They see what they're told is feminine, is femininity, right? And she believed that the court of public opinion would sway to her because she has that look. So when you call these types of women out, okay, because like I said, I've been PWIs my whole life. I've seen a million of them, okay? When you call these types of women out, and I'm not talking about women that are tiny and or white, right? I'm talking about women that behave like Amber Heard. When you call these types of women out, they will have this like bubbly personality that's like this, and maybe even higher. They might even have like a super baby voice, right? Super baby voice. Super baby voice. Like that's how you met them, right? And then when you call them out, they're like, and I've never seen anything like it. Like people could say you're judgmental to me. I wouldn't be like, like, what I'm saying? I wouldn't be like, you figured me out. Like I'd be like, that's your assessment. It's your assessment, like, right? Could be true. I'm not perfect. I wouldn't be like, now you figured me out. She was walking around Hollywood, totally bombshell, just bombshells. Now she's in trial looking miserable, copying Johnny's looks. He wear a ponytail, she wear a ponytail. He wear a blazer, she wear a blazer. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is that switch up? There's some type of psychological switch up going on there. I think that this is a woman who's very used to presenting a certain way and disassociating and being that woman that we're going to hear very soon here when I play the clip. Just want to get through some of you guys' comments. Thank you for being here, everyone. Please thumbs up the video and subscribe. Amber outdid him in the narc department. He met someone that surpassed him. I know he should. Thank you, Black Widow. Come on now. Come on now. I bet you he was like, oh my, you know what I'm saying? Because this was really a chess game for these two very narcissistic personalities, right? And Amber Heard said, I'm going to tell all your secrets. And Johnny was like, right? She thought she had him. He was like, I'm going to tell all of your secrets, right? Like, she couldn't keep him down. But they are a formidable match for each other. The fact that they're not willing to walk away from this, the fact that they're like, throw it all out there, feces in the bed, all types of paraphernalia and drugs and, escapades and making Paul Bettany's child cry. How dare you guys? How dare you, Amber? They said, just throw it all out there, all the affairs, all the text messages, all the entitlement, all the money spent, everything's going to be put out there, everything. It's a battle of the narcissists, without a doubt. And it's, to me, this is one of the most interesting things that's come out in a very long time. I don't see anyone going hard for the Black community. Right. It's like, come on. You see these women coming out when something happened to y'all, being like, I ain't seen not one picture. You see, oh my God. Sometimes it's just being Black, right? Like, there's so many pictures of Black men, and there's a few I've seen of Black women, right? Like, it's not like you were in a grocery store and this like white person, you're like, I'm gonna say this white person, right? Like that. Okay. Like, there's an earthquake and you're like, your instinct is to save or whatever. Okay, sure. These are literal like race riots where no one's there to protect Black people. If they're there to like, and there's this bunch of pictures of Black people being like throwing their whole bodies. Have you ever seen a picture of Becky throwing her body? Now, if we're talking body. Throwing her body. Her literal body for you. No, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. You'll never see it happen. All right? And I'm not shading y'all, because why would you do that? That's the point. But then Black women will turn around and do that. Throw their whole body out for somebody. But then if you're a fellow Black woman, you got, it's why this and why that. And I'm like, can you stop hating yourself so you can like me for 5 seconds? All right, I'm digressing. Let's get into this video. Okay. Black people don't know either of them like that, right? Exactly. I'm like, this reminds me of, y'all going to fight wars with people calling you the N-word, and very bizarre. Look, I'm like, hey, I wish there were no wars, but you're not going to disrespect me, call me out my name, and then get any type of support. Any type. Right now, I'm just going off on a tangent. I don't care. It's a lot of like, help my student loans get dismissed, but your case for reparations is BS. Well, if you're not gonna help me get reparations, I'm gonna help you get your loans dismissed. I went to state school, so I don't mind that little chump change. That's fine. That's chump change. See, if you're not gonna help me, I'm not going to help you. That's the way that it goes. That's how everybody works. I've been friends with a lot of white women in my life. That's how they all moved. If you're not helping me, I have nothing, I'm not helping you. So to see Black women doing the opposite for everybody but themselves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, just watch the court case. You don't have to be defending her so hard. She can defend herself. She has a very proficient legal team. They can defend her. Why are you defending her? You're never going to get reciprocity when you always give it first. You're not. All right. Hi, Goldie Jones. Good to see you. No lace fronts allowed in the jury. Okay, Resonant Warrior. You're a narcissist. Okay, well, that's great. Keep it respectful or you'll be bopped from this channel, because I'm a narcissist slayer, sir. Please understand that, okay? I'm a narcissist's worst nightmare. I'm not a fellow narcissist, so I don't have that warped, rigid mind that narcissists use to get through life. So, but I'm very aware of how they work, and you will be bopped off the channel if you're disrespectful. Please understand that. Thank you. Keep it cute. Amber Turd deserves time, but she is white and privileged, so it won't happen. Okay, do you fight for racism? Like, what are you gonna do? If you're not gonna fight against it, then what are you complaining about? I'm just pointing out the facts. You know what I'm saying? Even her privilege is not going to save her from the embarrassment of this trial, right? But when we talk about privilege, we're not talking about little stupid shit, right? We're talking about big things that matter, right? So, I mean, I think more so her being a white woman that looks a certain way is going to impact how people perceive her rather than just her being white and privileged. I understand there's a lot of white people out there in the world, and a lot of them were poor. A lot of them live in trailer parks, or a lot of them, like grew up in foster care. I understand that. I understand that. So did black people, and then they had to be in a racist society. That's what we mean when we're talking about privilege. Okay. She looks nice and seductive. Exactly. Like I'm talking a specific look. Something that when we talk pretty privilege, right? I'm like, I don't care how pretty you are. There's certain looks that get you certain places. Okay. Amber Heard got Johnny Depp at like 25. And then she was, allegedly hooking up during her marriage to Johnny Depp with James Franco and Elon Musk. That's why I said James Franco and Elon Musk, right? So she has a look, right? When we talk about what is universally seen as attractive, I think that is switching to a more maybe neutral place. But for the longest time, it's been that look, that bombshell blonde hair. That's why Lil Kim wanted to look like, what I'm saying? Like the blonde hair and the blue contacts, right? It's that bombshell Marilyn Monroe-esque look. And she has it, right? I remember when she came out, I was like, wow, she's beautiful, because Hollywood wasn't really going, they weren't really picking up the bombshells anymore, right? Everything was getting much more familiar. So they weren't really picking up the bombshells. And my mods are in the chat. If you see somebody in there disrespectful, bounce them. Bounce it. Bounce it. I'm about to throw a couple thousand. Bounce it. All right, bounce it. Okay? Because I don't want disrespectful people taking away from the chat. I don't play with y'all in real life, and I don't play internet games either. Okay? So she has that look without a doubt. Okay? This is a woman that knows what she's doing. I know they had Amanda Seyfried play Elizabeth Holmes in that movie about Elizabeth Holmes with like the little pill or whatever, and she's like, she's like the female version of the guy from Apple, right? And she's always wearing the black turtleneck, and she lowered her voice to sound more serious. People take her serious because she understood that Elizabeth Holmes understood, as someone with blonde hair and blue eyes, she wasn't going to be taken seriously. That's also one of the reasons I personally believe. And like Amber Heard, she seems to be very fluid in her sexuality and in her gender expression. But let's be clear, she came up on the ultra feminine part of expressing herself, right? So that's one of the reasons why Amber Heard is wearing these suits in court, right? She doesn't want to come off as like woman that's trying to manipulate, right? Even though that's how she lived her life, right? Being very feminine and being a woman that could use her looks to manipulate. Anyways, Elizabeth Holmes did the same thing. And I always thought, even though they had Amanda Seyfried play her, I always felt like Amber Heard would have been a really great cast for her, because Amanda Seyfried seems to be very happy and natural and comfortable, like in herself, right? Whereas like Amber Heard, I feel like is more like an Elizabeth Holmes, right? Just very, very aware of how she is perceived and constantly trying to use that to get what she wants, right? So, thank you. Who the hell is can somebody bounce him, please, before I do it? Resident Warrior. Sorry, but I don't like distraction. You can watch from the clouds. Bounce. I really don't. I know a lot of people on YouTube are stupid and play games, but it's not for me. It's not for me. No, 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 no. Now you're gonna make me have to get over here. Okay, so you're out of here. Please don't distract me. That's annoying. Okay, like I hate when they like pretend to be a victim, you know. It's like he's obviously some drugged out weirdo who failed in life and he's like, "Oh yeah, white privilege, white privilege." I'm like, look, I mean, you're not going to get what Amber Heard gets out of life. You might not get shit. Like I've said the world is changing, but it's been away for a certain while. What we're not going to do is play games, okay? I think everyone uses whatever privilege they have or can to their best abilities, okay? And don't be pressed because I talk about reparations. Nobody expects your methed out behind to pay for reparations. So everybody on meth can exit the chat, okay? Go take care of those epidemics and stop playing a victim, okay? Thank you. I'm not here for it. I'm here to talk about Johnny and Amber, okay? Stop playing the victim. I can't stand that shit. But then he'll be mad at somebody like Amber Heard. And be like, oh, Amber Heard is this, Amber Heard is that. You're just like Amber Heard. Using your dark feminine energy to play a damsel in distress. Do you understand how empires are formed? Do you understand how nations are conquered? This isn't rocket science. Okay? Things that people have done since the course of time, they didn't stop and change because you're indoctrinated to believe that you're some perma victim. Okay? Big dummy. She keeps dressing like him too. Exactly. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, she was married to him. So, she's got some idea. She got some idea. Amber beat up her ex-wife too. Exactly. There was an allegation of abuse. I think the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend dropped the charges, but yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to not be on her side. It doesn't to pick one or the other. Like, what does that do for me? I'm just looking at the evidence. And based on the evidence, it looks like they were in a very toxic, dysfunctional relationship because they both come from broken homes. Johnny had it harder, and people can say, "Oh, what makes something harder? What makes a lifestyle harder?" Well, you can quantify what makes something harder in a court of law, in terms of psychology. Things can be quantified. So I know your stepdad telling you that you never be good at football. I know that hurts your feelings, but when we're talking about things that happened to Johnny Depp and children like him when they were severely abused physically and emotionally and all these things growing up, those quantify as, more extreme cases. I believe Amber Heard has said that, and actually, I don't know because that person said lace front. So maybe he was mixed because he was given like Black Manosphere and WS talking points all at once. These dudes' heads is scrambled, absolutely scrambled, from all that spice that they, could afford. So lay off the spice, guys. So yeah, she's had other allegations of being abusive in relationships, whereas Johnny Depp has not. Right? That matters. I bet Vanessa Paradis is having the last laugh. Johnny treated her like trash. Wow, really? Wow. And you see, like, I don't know much about Johnny Depp. I was always a Brad Pitt fan myself, So I don't know much about Johnny Depp before his personal life, before this trial. Because all I really knew was that he wanted to be private. But, I mean, I think dating an actor is like dating an athlete. dating a male actor is like dating a male athlete in general when it comes to the attention that these men get and how they just live in a kind of a different world. I mean, men that make money already have a very entitled way of being. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of women want the guy with the money, but these are not easy men to get along with. If you think that someone that has figured out how to make good money in this world, we're talking mid to high six figs. We're not talking low six figs and up. If you think that these guys are just going to be just so easy to, and I think Amber Heard had that idea as well, right? Because she's young, she's bombshell, she's beautiful, right? She's 25. He's like what? In his, he's like 45 or something when they met. Twice her age. And she's thinking, got it in the bag. I got it in the bag. But eventually that faded, right? Because looks fade. And she wasn't the youngest, hottest thing around him anymore. And she still wanted to control him the way I'm sure it was easier for her to control him when they first started dating, right? Like, go ahead and divorce your wife. Go ahead and marry me, allegedly. Right? You should be happy. You've given her enough. It's time for you to be happy, Johnny. Right? I'm sure she was manipulating him and things were going her way. And like he said at the beginning of the relationship, I felt like things were great. It was like a dream, right? But again, as time passes and now he's been with you, that new-ish, that's not gonna be viable when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, when you're in a relationship with an older man who makes a lot of money and has been wealthy for most of his life, right? So I think that when she could no longer control him, because Amber Heard gives me, again, I've known a good handful of women like Amber Heard in my life. Amber Heard gives me very controlled, right? Like she controls her weight, she controls what she eats. And then it was revealed that her father was an alcoholic and I guess would abuse her mom and maybe verbally abuse them, maybe even worse. I don't know. So I think for her, being in control is what helps her get through that, right? And Johnny, I don't know if it'll come up in some of these clips that I have here for you guys, but Johnny was not with that. He's like, you're not going to control me. We can be in a relationship together, but you don't get to control everything that I do, right? And I think that's what made her kind of snap. Was that she could not control him. On all of these tricks and techniques that have worked in the past were no longer working. I bet Lisa Bonet is having last laugh. Okay. Okay. Truly. I mean, she was getting it in. She was getting it in. Let me get into this clip because I could go forever trying to read you guys' comments. So I love you. I'm having a great conversation with y'all. But let me get to some of these clips because there's a lot of truth bombs and things like that have been said during this trial. Okay. And again, we have to deal with these manosphere ideas, right? That say a woman like Amber Heard, that's what we're looking for. Well, let's take a look and see what a woman like Amber Heard is all about. Right? And that this is what they're telling you. You should be aspiring to be like. Right? Take notes, and that's why y'all the last ones married, and that's why. Okay, so let's see what it's all about. Let's take a listen.
Verbal.
Indeed.
Psychological abuse.
Indeed. Some of those sort of flow into the other.
I'd like to talk, understood. I'd like to talk about some of that abuse. Can we pull up Exhibit 582, please? Your Honor, this is a recording, Defendant's Exhibit 582, that we will play the entirety of.
All right, any objection to 582? No objection, Your Honor. All right, 582 in evidence. Put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You fucking have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there.
I'm sorry, that was crazy. I want to play that again.
Tyson air fried chicken, 75% less fat.
It's commercials. See, I'm respectful. I'll play people's commercials. I give them their little coin. I gotta play that again. Like, did you guys hear that conversation?
Please, Michelle. Bit 580, logical abuse.
Indeed.
Bit 582, please. Your Honor, this is a recording, Defendant's Exhibit 582, that we will play the entirety of.
All right, any objection to 582? No objection, Your Honor. All right, 582 in evidence. Put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You fucking have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there.
Okay, so, like, I'm sorry. I hope you guys heard that clear.
Any objection to 582?
I'm gonna play it one more
objection, Your Honor.
time.
All right, 582 in evidence. Put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You fucking have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there.
Okay, so Amber Heard recorded this conversation to prove that she was being abused. The thing about setting things up to get proof is that the courts understand that it's the person recording that has the power in that has a lot more power typically in that situation because they're controlling what's being heard, right? Here's what we don't hear. We do not hear Johnny putting any cigarettes out on her, right? That part of the recording, she didn't get it. But we hear her saying, go put your cigarettes out on someone else, right? And, he smoked cigarettes. He could have, I used to get burned by cigarettes when people were smoking cigarettes when I was growing up, because cigarettes are everywhere, You get a burn on your arm or something like that. Like, nobody put it out on me, right? And then he said, shut up. And you could just tell, I'm a theater actress, and this would be theater gold to play these two characters. Okay, like without a doubt, somebody's gonna write this into a play. Maybe it should be me. So he says, shut up, right? And then she's like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. And you can just tell what I'm hearing is these two people are probably intoxicated. She's slurring her words and talking about what he did to her. That's not proving that he's done it. And they really think that this is evidence? It's crazy.
Can you play that one more time, please, Michelle?
Objection, Your Honor. I'll sustain the objection. Move on.
Mr. Depp, when Ms. Heard tells you in that recording to go put your cigarettes out on someone else, you don't deny that, but instead you simply say, shut up, fat ass. Is that correct?
I think that was another grossly exaggerated moment of Ms. Heard's. I did not put a cigarette out on her or throw a cigarette at her.
Let's pull up Exhibit 581, please.
So, again, what I want to make very clear, right, is like some of you guys are saying, he did, treat his last wife poorly, right? Is that I'm not trying to defend him. I'm trying to point out that in this defamation case, she does not look like the damsel in distress, the victim that she portends to be, right? So, he's saying, right, like she grossly exaggerated, but they're talking horribly to each other. They are talking horribly to each other. These are not two people that have done any type of extensive therapy in terms of marriage work or inner healing. These are not two people that, think. I think, again, I want to say think before they speak, but I think that probably would be easier for them if they were also sober, right? So again, it's very clear that they're inebriated in this video. I can tell when someone's drunk or not. You can tell when someone's drunk, okay? So it's like when you're drunk, you lose credibility in court. In case y'all didn't know that. When you're drunk, when you're under the influence of something, what you're saying is a lot less credible. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I'm telling you guys how court works because I've been around a few. It doesn't matter if, you're right or whatever. You lose credibility because of that, right?
This is another recording that we'll play the entirety of with your honor's leave.
Any objection to 581?
No objection.
581.
I fucked up and cried in my bedroom after I had dumped you a fucking week prior. A fucking week prior after you beat the shit out of me. And then a week later you show up at my doorstep in my room saying you want to say goodbye. Okay, say goodbye.
Oh, I said it?
Yes, you did say it. I'll go to the text messages so that we're clear on the
Yes,
tape.
but you said it before to me.
Okay. No doubt. But you did not say you're to come over to say bye?
I made a huge mistake.
You didn't say that to me?
Huge mistake.
You didn't say that to me?
I won't do it again.
What's the mistake then? Did you or did you not say you're coming over to say bye?
Can we please pull up exhibit 598?
Okay, so again, she's accusing him of abusing her. She has not recorded the abuse. Look. When I was growing up, you would get knocked out for just about anything. And if someone had given me a hidden camera, what you wouldn't find was me having a conversation, being like, when you hit me, I would just record the person coming in and hitting me. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, if you're talking about I've been chronically abused, then you would be able to record that the way that you're able to record your follow-up conversations. You know what I'm saying? So
Is this another audio?
It is, Your Honor. And I will give the excerpts that we propose to play. And I'll say, Your Honor, it's a lengthy recording where
Well, I already have 598A in evidence. So
but there's a third to the extent Your Honor's
A typical tea commercial would show me boiling this water in my artisanal tea kettle. But this is choice organic.
third party will just keep.
sorry, guys, but you know what? This is trial life. It's not all fun and games. That's what I'm talking. Y'all already know. I would not jump on here with just an opinion. I have listened to almost every day of this trial, okay? And it is a lot of this, just like lawyers doing lawyer talk. And actually, I watch a lot of court TV because I think that if you're going to be in the United States of America, if you're going to live in the United States of America and be a citizen of the United States of America, you need to know the law of the land because you can get got not understanding things here. One of the things that they don't teach you, for example, right? Like they don't teach you anything about criminal justice in grade school, right? Barely teach you about politics. But, you look at all of these young Black people who have ended up in prison wrongfully. and they were suckered into a confession, or evidence was brought up against them and they didn't have proper attorneys and things like that. And a lot of the times that they get people to falsely confess so that they can solve a case is because people don't understand two things. One, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to remain silent. After you give them your name, you don't have to say nothing else but I want to speak to an attorney. Okay? And I'll give you that. The second thing that a lot of people don't realize is that cops can lie to you. So a lot of times the cops they'll just lie, right? They'll be like, tell us what we want to know and we'll let you go. The person will say something because they're like, okay, I want to go, right? I want to leave. I don't want to be here. Even, they'll be like, I'm innocent. I don't want to be here. I'll just tell them what they have continued to tell me to tell them. And then they're like, now you're going to jail. I mean, and that has happened so many times. Again, I'm not a person that sits and watch Kevin Hart specials and real stupid. I watch court TV, crime investigation, things like that. Like, those are the type of things that I watch. And if people just knew those two things, it could eliminate so many, cases of people being wrongfully convicted, but they're not going to teach you that because that works for them. That people don't know that, so that's why I watch this stuff. And that's why I believe that Johnny Depp has a case for defamation. Because based on this evidence.
And then it's 30 minutes and 2 seconds.
Thank you.
I'm not what I mean. Of not being able to do.
No, I meant exactly what I said.
What did you say?
At least I'm not doing it behind your back. I'm telling you.
Okay.
He gave me shit that I was recording, and I said, yeah, I'm recording, but obviously I'm telling you.
Okay.
And
So-
if you had asked me not to, I wouldn't.
Well, record, huh?
Okay, so the next excerpt is 30 minutes.
So in that excerpt, she admits to recording him. And, I don't know if we'll get to it because I actually have to wrap up and get going. But I think I've made my case. Court is adjourned, okay? In one of the tapes, right, so she says a lot of salacious things about him that cannot be proven. Whereas a lot of things that he says about her and her being abusive can be proven, right? Like people witnessed her being around when the glass bottle was thrown that ripped his finger, right? Like people witnessed her there. Okay. So
2 seconds.
she says, she says that like she had to clean up after him, that he would throw up and like defecate in his sleep because he had the turd. And I don't know if he has a picture of the turd, but like he had the evidence of the turd that like she allegedly put in his bed, right? So she was like, oh yeah, and he threw up all the time, because he's this like old like drug user, and he was like always throwing up, and like his bowels were, being loosed on their own and stuff. And I had to clean up him doing that, right? That's what she alleges. And one of the things that Johnny said was, I don't understand why you would record that. Like, wouldn't you get someone help if someone was doing something like that? That's extreme. When you think about like, this is your husband. This is someone that you're supposed to love. And she's constantly recording him to get evidence because I guess she knew that like everything was going to blow up. It's just, to me, it's sinister. It's sinister to have to live with somebody that behaves that way. And I know a lot of people, especially when you're dealing with narcissists, or you're dealing with histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, have to live with people who behave this way, who are, and they're so used to fighting, right? So again, she talks about her father being an alcoholic and abusive growing up. They're so used to their home life being fraught, right? that they don't like calmness in their space. And then, I grew up that way as well. I grew up, there was never any quiet, and then I would go to my PWI and my friend would be like, "You want to go to the cottage lake with us? We're going this weekend." Right? And I was like, "All right. I mean, I don't know how to swim, but okay, right." I'd get there. We'd be sleeping in some cabin on some cottage, right? And all I hear is shoo, 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 like the waves in the ocean as I'm sleeping, right? Or, you go to some cottage or, I do those things now with my husband, right? And it's like, all you hear is crickets. All you hear is, you don't hear police cars and fighting outside the window and everybody fighting inside the house. And that's almost terrifying. You begin to say, how can I get that sound? I'm telling you right now, one of the ways that I get that sound is in these YouTube streets, because y'all be acting crazy. Okay, I do get some of those sounds listening to some of the content in these YouTube streets, right? And my husband will be like, "What are you listening to?" It'll be like absolutely like it's fun stuff or whatever. Like, I don't think it's anything toxic, but it's not calming. You see what I'm saying? It's like everyone's like, I'll be listening to someone's live and everybody will be going at it, and they'll be like, "Hey, you say, oh, God, everyone's going at it. My husband's like, what is this? And I will say that when you understand that you grew up in a traumatic environment, you have a responsibility to not enmesh yourself with someone from a similar situation, right? So I can say that when I was younger, I might have had an attraction or two, certainly not to no bad boy, but I kind of had a Pete Davidson thing going on, right? Where I was like, I can save him. I was on that saving tip. Okay. And ultimately, I always avoided those relationships because of the responsibility I felt to myself, knowing that like me and this person are already having way too much tension. And of course, that could have just been sexual tension. And I didn't know what the hell it was, but I felt the tension, right? And I was like, it's too much tension and we're not even in a relationship. Men do this all the time, ladies. Men do this all the time. They did it to me all the time. They did it to me all the time. What do you mean? Then they gonna get mad because you do it to them. Right? I've always been around in a school environment, in PWI settings, kind of classist Black people. Black people who came from families with money. Not all of them, but I was around that most of my time, being in school, kindergarten through grad school, right? And, they didn't want to date some girl who grew up in foster care and didn't know all the bougie Black things that they knew. And, you know what I'm saying? And didn't behave that certain way. It didn't matter that I, was the way that I am, which is amazing. Okay. It didn't matter. Like, what mattered to these guys is like who your family is. And, I had guys say to me, like, I don't know what's going to happen if you and I, because you seem like, and they were correct. They were correct. I am not the one. Okay. They were absolutely correct. Like, I'm not someone that's going to be in a relationship with somebody and be being abused. So if that's what they were looking for, you're not going to get that out of me, right? What they were correct about is that I did have a lot of work to do, and when you're young, Amber Heard gets in this relationship with Johnny, because I'm going to give her grace, because we all deserve grace. If you're in the room, please thumbs up the video and subscribe. She was very young when she got into that relationship. around the same age that I was when I got into a relationship with my husband, right? And of course, my husband is much closer to my age than me. He's only 3 years older than me. Johnny Depp was twice her age, right? So I think he could have handled things a little different being older and just not have gotten into that relationship with someone so much younger than him in the head. You know what I'm saying? And for her, it's like the 20s. That's such a hard age to be in your 20s and being in an intense relationship. And I speak from experience. It's a very hard age to be, especially when you grew up in dysfunctional homes and had to deal with childhood trauma and or abuse, right? Because it starts to catch up with you. You know, I know for me, a lot of classism and racism that I had to deal with my whole life, you know, being in that position started to catch up with me. And I became very short-tempered when it came to feeling like people were being abusive or aggressive to me in any way, right? I became like very vigilant and protective, you know, and I had been through a lot being a young Black girl, poor in New York, coming here to try to make a life for myself, right? So I went through a lot. Like the city, you know what I'm saying? The city will eat you alive. Okay. And it almost ate me, you know? And so I was dealing with a lot of trauma from all of that. And now I'm in this relationship with a guy who has not dealt with trauma. So then there's this added pressure of holding it together. And it just, I mean, you just can't. You have to deal with it, you know? And I don't know if Amber Heard has ever dealt with the abuse she feels her father inflicted upon her family, but she's going to need to if she's going to get out of the patterns that continue to repeat themselves in her life. Right. I hate a raggedy behind troll. Like, go bother somebody else, clown. I'm not interested.
Walking away isn't necessary. Isn't necessary, especially between you and I. It is of utmost importance because the next move, if I don't walk away, or just go out for a little while, it's just gonna be a bloodbath. Like it's, you know, like it was on the island, of course, like it was, you know. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
Yeah,
Why be miserable? Can we just
the options are there.
have some semblance of understanding for each other?
Please, can we? Because I'm not trying to say, hey, by the way, no one in their right mind is going to choose a bloodbath over walking away. Obviously, if you're given the option between the two,
Then why has it been chosen so many times?
it's that snowball. It is not a distinct choice that either one of us make at any discernible point.
No, it's stubbornness and it's all
You know,
kinds
it
of shit.
builds, right? Like you build, I build, you know, it isn't like at one moment.
All right, it's cutting out. It's cutting out. Look, I'm going to be back to play more because they've had some crazy conversations. Okay. But again, what I think that can be learned from this overall based on the conversations that she recorded and this trial in general, is that you might meet your match one day, narcissist, and that if you have childhood trauma and you have things that you need to work on, you need to work on those things. If you are constantly seeing a pattern in your life where all your friendships fail, all your relationships fail, you know, you're not having connections at work, right? Everything is toxic. Everything fails and falls apart. You need to look into that. You don't need to be like looking for the next to hop on. You know, I think that this definitely goes to show men in this situation that they don't need to be dating women half their age. Like he wanted you know what I'm saying? Like you wanted a child and you got a child. She was 25, you got into a relationship with her. That's very young for a 50-year-old man. You know, so careful what you wish for. It's very clear that they're dealing with a lot of mental illness, a lot of substance abuse, and a lot of entitlement. And that's why it's culminated to what it is right now for them, right? Because all those things combined from both of them, it's a lot. It's very clear that Johnny has narcissistic tendencies. I don't think you could play Jack Sparrow and all these amazing characters, you know, and not, you know, be feeling a way about yourself. I mean, he's Johnny Depp. Most actors are narcissistic. So I know a lot of times people are like, you know, they're celebrity obsessed and they're like, these celebs are constantly telling you, they're like, I'm just like you, right? And let me tell you something. After I flew business class, okay, business class is not economy. It's not economy. You don't get the same food. They're constantly asking you if you want some orange juice or champagne. You get your own seat, your own nice little room. You can lay the seat back so that you can lay flat back and go to sleep. These celebrities are not like you and me. I'm like, they're not like you, maybe like me, but no, they're not like us, right? They live very entitled lives. They have access to amazing things. I mean, Johnny Depp is flying in a private jet. You gotta think about every time you want to travel, you're like, woohoo! And then like you spend 24 hours in the airport to get to the next country. You know what I'm saying? And you're sitting in a tight seat and there's a baby crying and everybody's online being like, so what if my baby cries? It's like, why do you have to cry on my flight? Right? You gotta deal with stuff that they don't have to deal with. And I think that being in Hollywood has certainly made Johnny very eccentric and narcissistic. Okay. And then Amber's narcissistic and she can play it a different way, you know, and they're really using everything they've got. They really are. It's very interesting. I'm not laughing at the demise of their marriage. I'm just laughing at the crazy trial. Okay. I have to be honest. I am laughing at this crazy trial. This trial is crazy. Okay, the trial is crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much it, right? I think that they both saw each other and they were like, "Ooh, this is something good for me," right? She's young, he's rich, he's famous. You know, we can really help each other out. But because they had so much extra baggage and trauma, and the way that they both kind of cope, right? The substance abuse doesn't help. I like to have my little drink on the weekend, right? Like my husband doesn't drink when I drink. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't drink hardly at all, right? So I'm constantly with someone that's sober. Okay? Like getting into these relationships where you're like, oh my God. And you know what? It's so crazy because I haven't told my husband yet, but he might be able to hear. I don't know. He probably left and went upstairs. He doesn't care. But like when I got with him, right? Because I was like, okay, I used to listen to the Goo Goo Dolls. So why don't you slide? Put your arms around me, and I think that Johnny Depp is like, he kind of reminds me of like one of the Goo Goo Dolls. He's like a guy like Goo Goo Dolls from Buffalo, New York. Shout out Buffalo. Okay. And so I thought that being in a relationship with a white guy would be kind of like what I'm hearing on these tapes, right? Like with Johnny Depp being like, you ripped my heart out. He's like, so, like I thought, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like very Goo Goo Dolls. And like my husband is not a guy to be like, he just, he's more like a Niles Nowsley, that black guy that does the skits about men and women interacting. And the girlfriend's always being like, why don't you talk to me? And then he just throws up the deuces and disappears. Like, that's what my husband does. Okay. I'll be like, we just really need to talk. I want to talk. And he's like, I'm just playing the game. I just wanted to play the game. Can I play the game? And then he's like, right. And he chucks up the deuces. So my husband's more like that. Right. And that works for me. Though I'll be honest, in the beginning of our relationship, that was very difficult because I was so like, where's that fire and passion? And where's the, like, you want to like work this out? And, I was like, emotional, I'm a woman, right? I was like giving all of that. And he was just like, like he just doesn't respond that way. And I think long-term, that's going to work better for you, ladies. If you're a woman like me, who's like looking for a Goo Goo doll, who's like looking for some guy to be like, I love you. You ripped my heart out, Stella. Like, that's what I was like. I was like, I want, and that looks enticing at first. Of course it does. Of course it does. It's like, oh my God, there's so much passion and fire and feelings, right? But like, that works for Johnny. He's a superstar. And it works with women that understand their place next to Johnny, behind Johnny, right? It don't work when you're Amber Heardish, okay? And you're like, okay, you're Johnny Depp and I'm Amber Heard, right? And like, you're not willing to play this submissive role next to him. You got to figure out who you are, because his relationship could have worked with a younger woman who isn't like Amber Heard, right? But Amber Heard is a woman like, there's a good amount of women out there like, who want to be in control. They want to be in control of the relationship. They want to feel like they can control their partner. See, that's why a lot of Black women won't reach up when it comes to dating. And instead, they'll reach down, right? And the guys think that they're like, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. No, you don't want somebody giving you a handout when it comes to dating. Play the game, right? Because what happens when you reach down is you're going to build contempt. You know damn well you shouldn't be with this guy. He's volatile. They're not great actors. They give the red flags right away. You know damn well you shouldn't be with him. Yet you choose to be with him on some, you can't control who you love. Bullshit. Because see, she probably tried to play that mess with Elon Musk when she got into the relationship with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk was like, guards. He probably had a hidden trap door on her. As soon as she started doing that mess, he was like, hidden trap door, and got rid of her. She couldn't do it to Elon because Elon had the resources. Elon is like Dexter's laboratory, probably going to his place. It's all types of trap doors, and he can get rid of you, guards everywhere. Release the hounds. He probably was like, get her out of here. But Johnny didn't have the resources to do it like that. You know what I'm saying? And Elon Musk has a different mentality. I don't know much about him, but I know his mentality is different than Johnny Depp's. You know what I'm saying? So that game didn't work on Elon Musk. He got what he wanted, and he was like, right? And she probably could have sustained a longer relationship with Elon Musk because he could instill boundaries on her that Johnny couldn't. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to know yourself. You got to know how you think and stuff. A lot of times I hear women be like, I want somebody to love me. And they're totally torn and broken from a traumatic childhood. They're not ready to love someone, but they want someone to love them. Nobody's going to just love you for free. Nobody's just going to be like, I just love you. When you pour love into other people, that's when people pour love into you. But most importantly, you got to pour the love into yourself, you know? And I'm telling you guys, this is why I wanted to bring this trial to y'all, because I just saw all of this stuff going on. And I'm like, this is a learning lesson. This is a learning lesson, you know? And unfortunately, not all day business got to be in the streets, but, you know, it's a learning lesson. So thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to read a few more of your comments before I head out. Madant says, no, her mom abused her dad and her dad abused her mom. They're both alcoholics. Okay. So again, and she doesn't come off as the person that took that abuse. She comes off as someone that, you know, to me, she seems like she's been more protected and or sheltered than people who are abused, you know, growing up. So that makes sense. She learned her abuse. All right now. That's all allegedly. Children of substance abusers have a challenge in relationships. If you have to suffer through this, please get support. Exactly. Like there's just so many people I know that have, you know, grown up with parents who had substance abuse and grew up in families that had to deal with addiction and abuse. And they're looking for somebody to love them. You better look in the mirror. And start loving yourself, because you can't make someone give you that thing that you're missing from having grown up in a toxic environment. You can't make someone give you that. You can't make someone behave a certain way. To this day, my husband puts his clothes on the floor instead of in the hamper. To this day, he's like, that's who I am. Like reigning champ of putting the clothes on the floor instead of in the hamper. Okay. But I can't make him be the guy that wants to put the clothes in the hamper. You can't make this person love you enough to make up for all the trauma that you experienced growing up. You have to understand that. So that's inner work. And when you talk about divesting, that's inner work. That's not something your friends are going to come along for the journey. And if you feel yourself moving along with a group of people, when there's some type of inner work that you should be doing, you're not doing it right. Because it's about how you're changing, how you're growing, how you're healing. Again, Johnny didn't have the capability to stop her the way Elon Musk had the capability to stop her. And she needs somebody that can stop her. Amber Heard. She needs somebody that's going to say, you're not getting your way this time. Not everything is your way. Not everything goes for you. I think that's what she needs. You know? And who knows if it'll ever happen, because then, of course, she ended up having a child. And with all that stuff she's got going on, that's not going to be easy for that child. She sounds feminine, fit, and friendly to me. Right. She's feminine, fit, and friendly, and will knock your finger off your hands. And will make you lose a couple $100 million on it. Nice and fit and feminine and friendly. That's all that's required. Well, if you're some older creep and that's all that's required, that's all you're going to get. She said, I don't have to do anything more than that. That's all y'all require, right? My money don't matter. Mental health don't matter. Johnny Depp's ex gave up her career and preserved his privacy. She did a great job raising his 2 kids without the Hollywood influence. He cheated on a woman like that for Amber. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I think I do remember that she was also an actress. You know, I mean, we all got to make choices. We all got to make choices. I know we couldn't expect Johnny to give up his career, but yeah. And maybe she's getting her little, last comeuppance, her little last laugh too, because, Johnny's not walking away unscathed in this trial. A lot of stuff is being revealed that I have no doubt he never wanted to be revealed. So men like that tend to reap what they sow when they betray a good woman. Now Vanessa is happily married and Johnny has lost money in years with his kids. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that she's married. I'm glad that she remarried. That's good. If Johnny wants to do court Amber Heard with Warner Brothers, how does that relate back to Secrets of Dumbledore with Johnny Depp? What? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh my God. Okay. Is Johnny Depp denying the abuse or suing because she violated the NDA? Both. Both. Johnny Depp makes it very clear that he has never struck Amber Heard. That's the word he uses. I've never struck Amber Heard. Okay, so I don't know, word for word what was in that op-ed. I got the gist, but I'm not sure if she outright insinuated. I mean, she insinuated she was in a physically abusive relationship. And he says, I've never struck her. So, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this is legal lingo, and the courts are going to determine based on the scale of justice, not what people think about it or, what couples should do or whatever. It's all going to be based on this legal lingo. And if she can prove that he struck her so that she's not defaming him, right? Burden of proof is on her. The defendant, as Judge Judy would say. I don't know the whole story, but I think Johnny isn't innocent. Neither is Amber. Exactly. They both, as I've said this entire time, right? They've both moved not good in this relationship. But ultimately, does he have a case for defamation? That's what I ask when it comes to this trial. That's my question. And I think he does. How was up, the arrow? I'm sorry. You said it was just thorough, and I keep calling you the arrow. They tell me I look life if things went wrong. I would leave easily. They were right. I'm not sure you're talking about. Yep, I was in a traumatic relationship in my early 20s and late teens, but I went to therapy early as fuck at 23. That's very good, Black Widow Row. I'm glad that you got out of that, and I'm glad that you got therapy. People love to be like, oh my God, did you get therapy or, get therapy or go get help. Like, that stuff is expensive. Talk therapy doesn't always work. There are so many ways that you need to invest in healing yourself when you understand that you're coming out of a traumatic experience. And for the longest time, because talk therapy didn't work for me, I felt like therapy didn't work for me and that it was all a bunch of hogwash, until I further got more into cognitive behavioral therapy and just started studying psychology and philosophy a lot more for myself, right? So these are the things that I encourage y'all to do. Stop bopping from channel to channel, listening to this crazy conversation, listening to that crazy conversation. Like, read books about cognitive behavioral therapy, read books about psychology, understand what you've been through, understand what you need. It's not another dysfunctional person. That's not what you need, And I feel like I'm blessed that, I'm able to be in a relationship with someone who, because he grew up in a stable environment, wasn't perfect. Nobody's life is perfect, But I mean, the type of abuse that I endured, he didn't know anything about that, and I feel very lucky to be with someone like that because, I mean, when you grow up that way, then everyone around you has grown up that way, right? And everyone is coming, you know, family relationships are dysfunctional. And, I'm not right and perfect 24/7. It's been said, I have no chill. I wouldn't disagree with that. That's why I'm not somebody to with. You know what I'm saying? So to have family relationships be everyone's coming from this place of being wounded and trauma and pain, you know, for me, I got tired of it. I got tired of it. You know, it's like I can't carry all y'all weight and my own weight and figure myself out. You cannot heal where the trauma took place. And so that's why I'm like, hey, a step back needed to be taken, and I'll do it. I'll do it. Y'all have fun, because I'm not going to keep telling people, what my boundaries are. I've made it clear. You can't comprehend that, you don't get access to me. But y'all can keep accessing one another and see how that plays out for you. And if it works out great, great. I must have been the hidden reason all along that everything was so crazy. But I'm not going to continue to put myself into a crazy environment for holidays, for friends, for family, for nothing. And I tell my husband all the time, I'm doing a lot of inner work. You got to do something. You're not perfect because you didn't go through the things I went through. You still have your inner work to do for yourself, But we got to be thinking this way, especially when you're in relationships. This is such a dysfunctional, toxic pairing, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And it's just like, you guys were supposed to be married and loving each other. How did it come to this? And you see Johnny talking about how hard his childhood was. And you can tell that he hasn't really dealt with this. He says, like, I was, abusing substances because this is how I have coped with the pain of my childhood. And, by the time Johnny Depp was like 18, he was already making a name for himself in Hollywood. So he's had money for most of his life. But it's those early developmental years that truly form the basis of who you are and how your psyche functions. And that cannot be underestimated. When you're entering relationships, you're looking to marry, you're looking to have children, y'all got to put in that work. And I know for me, I'm not going to be around a bunch of unhealed. That's why I say, keep that in the bushes. You're not going to come to my channel and bring your attitude and you're unhealed and, you want to bully people online because that's how you can take out your aggression on life. Go do it on somebody else. If I'm putting in work, I expect people around me to be putting in work. Do you see what I'm saying? What I don't expect them to do is everything I say and do this and do that. I don't do that. What I say is I'm putting in work on myself. And if you're not going to put in work on yourself so that we can have a good dynamic, a good functioning relationship, then we're not going to have a relationship. You got to start doing that more. We got to start doing that more when it comes to these relationships. That's what I learned from this. Girl, I used to work with celebrities there. Exactly. They are so narcissistic. I mean, you have no idea. When I think of almost every male celebrity I've ever interacted with in person, one of the things that they all had in common, they are charming as AS or AF, or they are charming. Okay. I mean, these guys will look you right in the eyes and you'll feel like, you'll be like, I know we're in love. He not in love with you. He not in love with you. It's just something about them. They're crazy eyes, like you're just like, mesmerized by them. They're captivating. They understand this power they have over you. They understand how they look when the camera is on them. They didn't get that far not knowing this. So that's why I was saying, stop being fooled by the whole like celebrities being like, I'm just like you. They know good and damn well they ain't just like you and me. Okay? They know good and damn well they're not. Very narcissistic. Very narcissistic group of people in general. I honestly, sometimes it's like, I don't even feel bad for celebrities when things like this happen because I'm like, you should have known. I mean, just get with anyone that's not a celebrity. It's not like y'all work together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like all I work around are celebrities, like as a celebrity. That's not true. There's a bunch of people in the crew, there's makeup and there's sound and there's engineering and there's special effects. I mean, go date a special effects guy. Why do y'all always have to date each other? Because y'all doing it for clout. And then I'm supposed to sit around and feel sorry for you. I'm supposed to exert my energy being like, who's right? Who's wrong? That's your problem. I never worshiped celebrities since I was little. Right. I stopped worshiping celebrities a little too late in life, but I did it. After I got out of school, basically, and got into the real world, but it took a while. Like, I was like, definitely one of these people. And as you guys can see, like on my channel, like I don't talk about celebrities all the time. Certainly less than most YouTubers. Like I understand people want to talk about celebrities, but I genuinely don't care. So it's hard for me to like talk about them as much, as other YouTubers do. That's why the fantasy of celebrity is dying. People are meeting these celebs and noticing that they are horrible. Then they leak the information online and everyone changes their mind about them. True. True. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Very few big celebs left. I was like that before in my late teens and early 20s. Once I got therapy, I became amazing at long-term relationships. Exactly. Like, I'm like, stick around on my channel, guys, because I don't take it lightly that, I've been with my husband for over a decade. Like, I don't take that lightly. That was an immense amount of work that mostly I had to do. Okay, when it came to this relationship functioning, because I had a lot of the baggage, for the longest time I was like, he just doesn't get it, and then it was like, no, I don't get it. I don't get what's going on within me, and how can I expect him to when I don't? And that's when I started thinking differently. You're only helping yourself to do that work. And yeah, you might even get a great relationship out of it, but what you get from it, like on your own, is worth it. It really is, guys. It really is. The more powerful a man is, the more in the background you will be if you're not his equal. It's a patriarchy. Exactly. Exactly. You can't get into a relationship with an older man and want to control him, unless he's super old. Okay. So, like, you have to be mindful of who you're in relationships with. I was watching a story about a woman and she was talking about being with this guy, and she kept talking about how like she would yell at him and be like, are you cheating on me? And then she was like, one day he knocked me out. Right. And it's like, it's certain people you don't yell at, you don't raise your voice because they're volatile people, and that's how they would respond, and you got to know yourself before you can know other people, before you know what kind of person you're getting into a relationship with. I mean, I thought my husband was nice when I met him. I had no idea that, he was the chuck up the deuces guy, and that he's very closed off, like opposite of Johnny Depp. He's not going to be like, no, it's just like, he's very stoic. And I didn't know how hard it would be for me to, constantly be having to try to connect with him and reconnect with him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's very reserved and closed off for himself. I thought he was just a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Because if I knew that, yeah, he's a nice guy, but like, this is someone that it's going to be very difficult for you to communicate with, you know, then I would have entered into the relationship with a different mindset. I thought that we would have a lot easier time communicating, you know, but we didn't because of everything coming from my past and who he is, you know, two different people, you know. So like after the attraction and everything has been dealt with and you're two people in a relationship, who are you? And I feel like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard found that they were miserable around each other, you know? I can say I'm fully healed through brain spot therapy. Interesting. I did extensive trauma therapy and I'm the person I'm supposed to be now. I learned late. I'm 27, but I'm glad I did the work. Oh, 27, that's, I mean, that's still very young. And I think that's great. I have to look into that brain spot therapy. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you for chatting with me about this. I was like, I gotta talk to somebody about it. You know, I don't want to be like the friend that like calls my friend up to be like, you heard about this Johnny Depp and her situation? You know, so I was like, we go on YouTube, I'll talk about it there. And you know, I feel like I was able to hash some things out that I wanted to be said from all of the hours that I've watched this trial. Ultimately, both narcissistic people, mutually abusive relationships. Some people are saying there can't be a mutually abusive relationship, but I don't believe that. And I think that people who are not used to long-term relationships might think that that's a case. But when you're in a long-term relationship, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And, you know, you will end up hurting each other, you know, not physically, but you know what I'm saying? You will end up hurting each other's feelings. You will end up seeing the worst in someone else and seeing the worst in yourself, you know, if you're in a long-term relationship. So I'm probably going to come back and talk about this at least one more time before this trial is over. It's juicy. And if you want to know what I've been up to, please join me over on Patreon. Everyone else, thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I've been, you know, doing my own thing. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about. So I'm going to be back on here sooner than later. I'll see you guys soon.